Shalom, welcome to our daily class from Menachem and Patreon. We're holding in Torah 78, and we've learned already that God promises that He Shachanti b'toch tumatam itam. I dwell with the Jews even in their impurity. Now that sounds a wonderful thing, right? God dwells with us in our impurity, but it's not a simple given thing, because the Shekhinah runs away from impurity. The Shekhinah does not dwell on impurity, dead bodies, evil speech, all types of places where things that happen that are against the Torah. The Shekhinah runs away from them. But God says, but with the Jews I will wait, I will be with you in exile. And that is part of the promise that we know we're going to be taken out of exile. Now, there's many levels of exile. There's the exile of the individual, the exile of the nation, the exile of the entire human race. And these exiles are all basically where we are trapped, we are imprisoned by something. It's either by a foreign nation that's dominating a small nation, or our bodies are dominating our souls. That's also a form of exile. The soul wants to be free. Why is freedom such a big deal to the Jewish people, to all humans? Because it's our nature to be free. That's the way we're created to be. But the exile and the imposition of various types of exiles keep us locked in a cycle of, oftentimes it's an addictive type of thing. It can be psychological, physiological, all types of exiles we want to get out of. Now the Rebbe tells us here in Torah 78, from Ahavat Yisrael, from God's love of the Jews, Sha'ani shochen itam, that I dwell with them, afilu b'toch tumatam, even with their impurity, v'zeu galut Shekhinah, and the Shekhinah, the divine presence, allows herself to be exiled in order to be with us, because that is part of the guiding hand of history is woven into this idea. And this exile of the divine presence is what we're responsible for taking out of exile, because each person has the little spark of the divine that we need to bring out of exile. But when we fix the quality called kingship, it's in Kabbalah, it's called a partsuf. It's a face, means it's a collection of powers invested in the soul. And Malchut is the power of the king to give orders, to change reality around us, from an idea to a feeling, to a speech, to an action with our hands or our feet, whatever it is. That whole idea is the acquisition and the representation of kingship. And so a king, he's the one who sits on the throne. He tells the nation what to do, and they do it. And according to his wisdom and guidance will be the fate of the nation. So this idea of kingship, when it's v'yachad b'dibur, when it's united with speech, in other words, when you're speaking about God's kingship, you're uniting with His power of kingship. When you believe that He's the King, the real King, the only King, when you speak about that, when you pray that way, when you learn that way, when you think about that during your day, that there really is this one universal, eternally infinite King, what happens? This is Bechinat Malchut, Bechinat Shekhinah. Then it's an aspect of the divine presence in your mouth. Now listen to what he says. Im Hashem, that we're uniting the divine presence in our mouth, between the infinite transcendental one and the immanent power of speech, Shekhinah. V'yitgale v'yitgadel ora shel partsuf malchut. And this elevates and enlarges this power of kingship. That the idea is not that just the Jews sit around talking about God being king, that the whole world gets the idea that there is only one king to serve, and not all these other little human creations of kingship. Now, tefillah is one of those revelations of his kingship, because when you're praying to something that you believe is going to save you or give you power or blessing, then you're investing in his kingship through prayer. And this is in the light of the face of the King of Life. That there's a King of Life, right, that we're speaking about, and there's the light of the face. The face is that revelation of the inner being, which is the revelation of the kingship. Who you believe in is hidden inside you until your face shows it, and your speech shows it, and your eyes show it, and your actions, revealing who you really believe is king. Some people walk around thinking that they're king. And this is but when we get it, that it's Hashem, it's the light of the face of the King of Life is shining through us. Which is this illuminating of the power called kingship. Then we can live. We can live a true life. Because we're drawing life from this power, this window in this sefirot called kingship. Which is the root of the idea. See, the words and powers are not simply words that human beings use. They reflect a structure of revelation in the upper worlds that it gets revealed through human beings, through our speech, through our actions, etc. Now this root, Gamzel Bechinat Ruach HaKodesh, he goes to tell us further, it's even an aspect of divine inspiration. Because the fact that a person lives, and the main reason that we live is because we breathe, and our breathing transfers air into us and out of us, and that's it's called ruach. And so what's ruach hakodesh is when your air and your breath is carrying something very holy upon it, like the speech of the king. Umahi nishima. What is the breath? Shemotzi machnis ruach, right? Vezeu bechinat achayot ratzov v'shuv. This is the idea the prophet Ezekiel said that the angels were running and returning. Keshadam davuk b'malchuta kedisha. When a man is attached to the holy kingship, midaber Torah tefillah, and he's speaking words of Torah and prayer, motzi umachnis ruach hakodesh. He is putting out and bringing into him Holy Spirit. And this is the idea that God promises, I will put the Holy Spirit within you. In your midst, in your essence, in your belly. And this is the idea of breathing a holy breath. And then you receive the new spirit and you get renewed. So the Holy Spirit renews our spirit from speaking about the holy ideas. It's a chain reaction. So this idea is something that we have to go over and over and get the process down. And it's not a magical formula, but actually it kind of is, because we don't realize it, what makes us renewed. But what renews us is attaching to the idea that God is king, speaking the words of Torah and tefillah, thinking them, saying them, hearing them, sharing them, breathing them, brings the Holy Spirit into us and takes it out, and you get renewed. And so that renewal is very subtle, but it's all the difference between not wanting your life, not wanting to be where you are, not wanting to be in the relationships you're in, and suddenly you get this little spark of renewal and everything looks different and better. And that's my blessing for you today, my friends, because if you get that every day, then you lead a totally new life every day. God bless you all. We'll see you again.